They did this because they had some racist theories about the Germanic people being the master race and how they wanted to keep the race pure, and they would round up all the Jews and then they would have them dig mass graves and order them into the graves at gunpoint, and then they would shoot them. Hello, and welcome to Inside Outlook. I'm your host, Stephen Ryan, and this is the first episode, and this is a show about the meaning of life, death, and the universe, and stuff I'm interested in. So today, I want to talk about two books, two great memoirs, and they're both Holocaust memoirs. And one is called Night by Elie Wiesel, and the other is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I get these two mixed up because they're both similar. They're both talking about experience in a death camp. That's why I wanted to talk about both today. First, I want to say a little about the Holocaust. In school, you learn a little bit in history class, like 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust, and they were taken on trains to death camps, and like Auschwitz, and the Nazis used poison gas on them. As the German army moved forward, there were a lot of Jews that were killed in villages because the execution squads led by the SS followed the army, and they would go to villages and they would round up all the Jews, and then they would have them dig mass graves and order them into the graves at gunpoint, and then they would shoot them. They did this because they had some racist theories about the Germanic people being the master race and how they wanted to keep the race pure. This was sort of akin to eugenics. When the Nazis first came into power, they sterilized mentally ill and mentally challenged German people. They also targeted the Romani people, the Gypsies. They also wanted to commit genocide against Slavic people, Russians, Eastern Europeans. The Nazis believed that their living space was being occupied by Slavic people, and so they wanted to kill off the Slavic people and take it so they could expand the German population. And these racist theories led them to commit genocide. If you only had to read one of these books, I would recommend Night, which I think is slightly better. It's the relationship between a son and a father, and it was a little more literary. On a rating scale of an A+ to an F, I would give Night an A and Man's Search for Meaning an A-, both must-read books. So Night was assigned in a lot of middle school classes. People were reading this when they were 14 a lot of times in school, but I think that's just too early to really appreciate the book. I think you need more life experience and perspective to really grasp what's going on and to really appreciate it. Elie Wiesel he was a teenager and he was with his father. So they started off in Transylvania, which during World War II was part of Hungary. People in Hungary didn't know about the Holocaust. There was rumors, but no one really believed it because it was just so insane. And so when the Hungarians they boarded the trains to the death camps, they thought they were just being relocated because the Red Army was closing in on their location. They were sent to the death camps by train, and Elie Wiesel went with his whole family. When they got to Auschwitz, Elie Wiesel's mother and sister, they were separated from him and his father, and he didn't know it, but the women were taken straight to the gas chamber, and then him and his father were assigned to hard labor. The story is the relationship between him and his father, because they're still together in the camp. And Elie Wiesel, he does a great job of really vividly describing the situation, and it really, I could easily imagine myself being in the camp with my own father, and it was just really emotionally impactful. Yeah, just a profound memoir. Man's Search for Meaning is a similar memoir. It's Viktor Frankl's experience in the death camp. And there's a powerful scene in that book where Viktor Frankl is talking to a Nazi guard, and the Nazi guard is mocking him, and the Nazi guard asks him, "What did you do before, Jew? Were you a big businessman?" And Viktor Frankl angrily responds, "I was a doctor. I help people." And the guard responds, "I bet you made a lot of money." There was already anti-Semitism in Germany and a lot of other places too. Nazis just were systematically, just from as soon as they took power in 1933, they were making Jewish people the other and trying to paint them as subhuman. And this all culminated in a genocide. And the German population, they didn't all know about the Holocaust. The Holocaust was a secret in some ways. But the guards obviously knew about it. It started from the propaganda and the anti-Semitism, and it just went all the way to genocide. Like I said at the beginning, I get these two memoirs mixed up. There's another powerful scene, and I don't know which memoir this one's from. There's a Jewish men being transported by train, and they stop at some farmland and in Germany, and some German citizens, maybe farmers, are nearby, and one of them throws some bread into the train car. At first, the narrator thinks that he's nice for, giving them bread, but then the Jewish men start fighting over the bread, and the German citizen starts laughing. There's cruelty. There's a lot of cruelty in the world. There's still cruelty. We all know cruel people, but you wonder how someone goes from being just a jerk to people to that German with the bread. These are both great memoirs, and definitely must reads. They're short, they're easy reads, but they're deep. This won't be a slog, and it's not boring. They're not boring. They're interesting the whole time, and you'll quickly finish them, and it'll give you some great perspective on life and history. So I highly recommend them, and all great books make you think, and these books have an emotional impact that's very enlightening. So that's all for today's show. Let me know if you have any questions or disagreements, thoughts, whatever. Let me know in the comments. Thank you.